lions, tigers, and Zerologon attacks coming up on ThreatTraq.
So Tony, Zerologon is back in the news. What do you got?
Right. So what just came out for February's Patch Tuesday is kind of a push when it comes down to Windows Zerologon. So basically what happened is there's a critical vulnerability that came out last year. It's CVE 2020-1472. This deals with the remote procedure call, and what this vulnerability can do is really disruptive. An attacker can use this to elevate privileges to domain administrator, basically owning a domain. And what Microsoft did for Patch Tuesday this month is they did something called an enforcement mode. What this does is it enforces and just changes the way that domain accounts are set up. So this will prevent any sort of vulnerable RPC calls for this particular vulnerability to perform within your network. Now, for domain administrators or people that are working within the network themselves, there's a couple caveats here that is going to prevent them from doing some general functions with those machine accounts, trust accounts, so on and so forth. But they are making sure with this particular patch that it starts to restrict the environment to help keep this vulnerability down to a bare minimum. So obviously with anything that's Microsoft Patch Tuesday, you need to patch. The amount of patches that are in the February Patch Tuesday is very long and distinguished, but at the same time, they're looking back at previous vulnerabilities and kind of making some tweaks, not necessarily a patch push, but some tweaks within the environment to help prevent any of the vulnerabilities from occurring within the environment. It's a great step by Microsoft to be able to do this sort of update. At the same time, some things within your environment aren't going to go, normally because they're trying to restrict those particular accounts. Now, this vulnerability, being able to go in, elevate your privileges to domain administrator and owning a domain is basically the keys to the castle. With this Patch Tuesday, it's helping resolve that problem in the future. But yeah, it's CVE 2020-1472 was pretty big, and you got to really watch out for RPC, Windows Zerologon. I mean, I remember in the past when RPC was hit with previous vulnerabilities, and it, being an old server operator, that could definitely disrupt an environment. It could do a lot of damage within an environment, and owning a domain through elevated privileges is very scary.
So Tony, some organizations tend to delay patches, right? Because they want to run them in a test environment and hold off on deploying, even when Patch Tuesday comes along. Is there anything, you can recommend, anything that we can disable in the environment? I mean, how widely do you think we should lock down RPC until they're able to patch? Is there any kind of preventative maintenance we can do before the patch, or?
That's a really good question. And dealing with RPC vulnerabilities in the past, these situations are the ones where there's really nothing that I would be able to suggest as kind of like Band-Aids to put in to kind of hold off while the testing happens. I would say grab the package right away, begin testing immediately, and if you can get these sort of critical vulnerabilities fixed within your environment within 24 hours, that's really the best practice. Especially this one, they published a proof of concept. So when that's published, it's not going to take a lot of time before someone can take the proof of concept and turn it into, something nefarious. So I would say, grab the package, patch, in a test environment, let it soak for a couple hours. If it's stable, be able to push it out into your environment. That's what I would personally want to see whenever it comes down to an RPC vulnerability.